Glad you could join me. And today I have two special guests. I have David Waverly, formerly NASA employee, and as most of you know, Cindy Holland, also formerly NASA employee. And we're going to talk about, are there satellites? And if there are, what type of satellites? David's going to talk just a little bit about the South Pole because he was stationed there. So he's got a lot of cool information, facts about that. And we're going to talk about Cindy. Of course, she worked at Lockheed Martin, which an engineer told her what?
That the Earth is flat.
The Earth is flat, straight from an engineer at Lockheed Martin. If anybody knows if the Earth's flat, Lockheed would know. So, David, let's hear, what did you do for NASA? And tell us about your experiences. I know you work for Goddard Space Center. Tell us about your experiences at the South Pole.
Okay, so I actually wasn't at the South Pole because there isn't a South Pole.
Oh, but, whoa. Is there something to walk on down there? I mean,
well, first of all, Antarctica, regardless of whether you believe in a globe or a flat Earth with a encircled or encompassed Antarctica, Antarctica is a landmass covered with ice, a whole lot of ice. Everything is south.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I was in McMurdo to put a data ingest system. Now, this was in my career at NASA when I believed we lived on the globe Earth. I bought all the science, all the space, the vast universe, and billions of stars. I bought into all that, just like most of us did at one point. And so I'm down there, and we put this system in to capture the data. And it's for polar orbiting spacecraft, so that because there's a big data hole in the Antarctic data set, a big hole.
Are you talking about the map part, the part where Hollow Earthers say there's nothing there?
Yes, any map that you would have seen of the Earth showed this huge gaping lack of data in the center of Antarctica. And I can tell you the reason why that is because there is no center in Antarctica. Antarctica is a ring, but I didn't know that then. So we go down there. Now, here's the thing, and I was about to tell you a little while ago, is I set this system up. Everything's functional. We were ingesting data. We're retransmitting it offline when there are no spacecraft orbiting over, quote unquote. And about 10 years later, I'm watching a YouTube video, and I'm looking at images on Google Earth of Antarctica. And there's a big gaping hole in the data set for Antarctica on Google Earth. And I'm like, now you got to understand, I personally went there to correct that. So I was kind of like a little weirded out. Like, why in the heck is there no data for this large area of Antarctica when I went down there to correct that? And this is here 10, 12 years later. So I called my old boss and said, hey, Mike, what's the deal? How come we don't have any data, any imagery over the center portion of Antarctica? And his answer to me...
You think after 10 years they'd have some data, right?
Dude, 12 years.
12 years, okay.
Yeah, and we spent $500,000, which isn't a lot of money by NASA standards, but on this project to go down there, I didn't even want to go, to be honest. And he says, well, Dave, they opted out. They didn't want our data. They got a pipe. They got a fiber optic network from McMurdo to Svalbard. Now, you got to understand, Svalbard is almost the total other side of the world, okay? It's one of the most north places on the quote-unquote planet, okay?
Now, is this an undersea pipe from McMurdo that far?
Yes. Fiber optic pipes under the ocean from McMurdo Station all the way to Svalbard. Now, even on a flat Earth map, it's freaking far, okay?
So wait a minute. Supposedly we have satellites. We have all this great space technology.
Yes.
Why the heck do we need a fiber optic pipe from
Listen,
McMurdo?
that's what I'm getting at. So he's telling me this, and this is what he's telling. And I'm going. Now I don't even think I believe that I knew about flat Earth yet. Then this is what was leading up to my going. Holy crap! We're deceived. So I'm on the phone with him, and he's retired at this point from NASA. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why the heck? He said, well, they opted out to send the data to Svalbard. That's the Norwegians, okay? And that they would process the data and sell it back to us.
What?
I'm just saying. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense at all. Doesn't it? You know? Now remember, how many guys can you talk to that said, hey, I personally went down there and put it in a data retrieval system for polar orbiting spacecraft in Antarctica? You hear that every day, right?
Well,
So,
So it's important that everybody understand that you were there to map
yes,
what's essentially still not there and still not mapped
that's
today.
right. To fill out an area of data, a huge area that was not there. And so, and it's still not. See, here's the thing. He says, well, yeah, they pipe it over the fiber optic network to Svalbard, and then they sell it back to us. Well, it's still a big gaping hole in the data. Hello.
So 2017, we have yet to map a portion of one of our continents if the Earth is
Yes.
a globe, correct?
And we supposedly, quote unquote, have continuously polar orbiting spacecraft. Guys, listen. You know, there's a whole series of spacecraft that I worked on also called EOS, Earth Observation Systems. And it was like 5 different spacecraft, and they each looked at different spectrum. One was for atmospheric qualities, another was Terra, another, anyway. They are all polar orbiters because the whole idea is that the Earth is spinning and these daggone satellites go around and they get a different swath of the world as the Earth spins underneath it.
Right, strip data.
Again, I'm speaking. Huh?
That's called strip data, right?
Yeah. And so, okay, and from a global perspective, that makes sense, right? Okay, so how come there's no data still from the southern part of Antarctica?
Your job was supposedly to map this missing big area, because NASA, if they show a radar of the South Pole, you see this big gaping round circular hole there of no data of anything mapped. And so your job was to map this out. 12 years later, you come to find out that they mapped nothing. It's still the same today, right?
Correct. So why they were going to spend the money, why we were going to go down there and do that. You could find it. It's out there because I looked it up. I wanted to see what led up to why I went there. You know? And basically his answer does not give an answer because it doesn't make any sense. He didn't answer the fact that there's a big gaping hole in the data still.
In other words, nothing mapped. That's what we call a gaping hole in the data. There's nothing there.
There's a map of Antarctica on a globe Earth. I used to have a globe in here for joke purposes. On a globe Earth, anybody that looks at it, you show Antarctica. When you look, go to Google Earth, and if you zoom in, you'll notice that the lines from data scans, they converge at the middle and they become nothing. It's just white. There's no data. It's kind of filled in, kind of like the guy who made the Earth image, right? It's Photoshop because
it has to be. All right, awesome. Now, David, you, Cindy, and I, we were talking about actual what we would call real satellites, not ones orbiting a ball, of course, but real satellites that actually resonate probably on a frequency perfectly in our magnetic field. They have found technologies, and Cindy, you know you've heard of the TR3, the funny triangle-shaped spacecraft they got. We have aircraft that actually can hover almost indefinitely in tune with our magnetic field. That's what I'm understanding. Cindy, you mentioned a project that you cannot talk about, of course, and we'll respect that. But they are, in most part, what are really satellites, correct? What can you tell us about this, Cindy?
Well, I have not researched that particular aircraft myself, but I can tell you that the research that I've done shows us that they're satellites that they claim are orbiting Earth are not orbiting Earth, that are never seen in any photos, by the way. It's a really good topic, but in reality, yes, they're building satellites because I have friends who work for these companies who build them. Yes, sir. There are people who build these and work on these programs, and that's not fake. What's fake is that they're being sent into orbit. That's the part that's fake. And so that's the part that we're researching. We're looking into these anomalies because we know that outer space is not factual. It's created. It's not. It's a sci-fi movie. It's not something that's able to be. You can't go there.
Yes.
It's
We
just not a
can't
place
get to
you
the
can go.
moon. So Cindy,
can't-
let me ask you, Cindy, I've talked to NASA engineers and they claim, well, I work on satellites. Are you saying that somebody who works at NASA could actually work on parts of the equipment that go on things that are actually going up in the air to hover, orbit Earth, or ride along our magnetic field? Because David, you were talking about they find this sweet spot, a resonating frequency, that they have technology that they can stay up there as long as they stay in tune with Earth's magnetic field. Is it possible employees, Cindy, can build these things and they tell them it's an orbital satellite, but still be functional and be used for maybe one of these platform devices?
It's hard to know what they would be used for because we're not in the know, and most of the people who work on these satellites are not in the know. There's no way they would have an idea of where they're being used or how their functionality actually works, but they are building them. I know I have a close friend I grew up with who works at Boeing, and when I first started posting that satellites were fake, she was very upset with me because she works to build satellites. I've worked in other NASA contracting positions, and we're all doing something. We're all working on projects and programs. The problem is it's a need-to-know basis. Everything is need-to-know. You're told what you're told. You do your job. You come to work, and you retire, and that's pretty much it. So most folks would never know that the hard work that they're doing is not what they think it is. None of us know the truth. That's what it is. Nobody knows unless you're in the top. I don't know. Probably.
Even the top at NASA, they probably don't know. It's all obscured by fervor and excitement and ideals that most of us were taught since kindergarten.
Right. And these are psychopaths. They don't have guilt. They do not
have feelings.
Correct. They're able to teach these things in schools and in college and all the way up to people who are PhDs. And they know they're false. They know they're fake. There's no proof. It's all theory. But they can do this because it's an agenda, and it goes with their agenda.
NASA has another division that we would call liars and deceivers, part of NASA. And then we have the people that actually do real work and real technology for NASA. That's what it's looking at. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
And I became very awake in 2009 to most truths, and I became aware of flat Earth in May of 2016. So I have many years as an awake person. When I go back and I think about the photographers who were in the office next to me, who came out of the building and said they couldn't believe people believed in the fake moon landings. That was in 1997, 98. I don't remember the exact date. I just remember it happening. So
wait. NASA employees that are in the know are going, I can't believe these people bought into that moon landing crap.
Oh, guys.
This is what I overheard, yes.
No. You just reminded me of something I mentioned the other day to somebody who was like, a pastor friend of mine. At Goddard, we had a digitization project in the education office. A guy named Dr. Bob DeBreeze was the head of education at NASA Goddard. I did a lot of education outreach, but I was also technologically adept, so they would include me in these extra projects. We were going to digitize all the lunar lander and all of the Apollo mission stuff they had in archive, and it was missing. It was gone.
Oh, boy.
Okay? and I remember, but here's the thing. Then I still believed all the other garbage, so I was like, well, it didn't make any sense. How would you lose? I guess the most historic moment in all of mankind. Why would you lose that?
You lost all the
And-
telemetry data to the most important event ever, right?
Yes, they got like freaking 10 sound bites from the lunar mission, you know.
I'll tell you, I was the retrospect administrator. Retrospect is a system that we used to back up computers for the whole facility. So this is dating myself, obviously. Now, if I'm understanding my role right as the backup administrator for Dryden Flight Research Center, everything was backed up every night based on my job, what I did. I backed up computers, and it was a system. It did it
Now,
automatically.
wait, Cindy.
Yeah.
Are you backing up like super important data like the moon data? Or was the moon data not as important?
And everything that was on
No,
any
they're personal
site.
freaking MP3s.
So we can lose the moon data, but we're backing up everybody that swiped their key card for the last
Right.
20 months, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay, I got it.
exactly.
Just as long as I understand NASA's priorities. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah.
I'll never forget my first week at Goddard. I went into an engineer's office, like he's a freaking GS-15 or something, okay? That's like a $250,000 a year, okay? It's like 150 to 250 a year salary. I go into his office, one of his hard drives had crashed. I'm not making this up, guys. And I get called on a tech support call. I pull his drive and I run this data retrieval tool. And it's all organized pornography. It's all porn with categorized folders.
Terrible.
But my point is that all that stuff is all saved.
Right.
Well, you got to back up the porn. Can't lose that, right? But we lost
And
the
that's
moon
to tell
data.
you,
But we lost the moon data.
Yeah.
There